Let's get started. I want to thank you again for joining me today. My goal is to provide you with a few updates on some critical topics that we're talking about. As we've done with our previous Facebook Live events, at the end of this update, I'll try to take some of your questions for as long as time allows. And if you do have a question, you can add it into the comment section, and people are pasting those for me into this script of bullet points I'm reading from. If we don't get to your question today, submit those online via email to info@ltisdschools.org. Also, if you miss any portion of this event, the video will be posted in its entirety right here on our Facebook page, and will also be uploaded on our district's YouTube channel, LTISD Schools. I want to start off with a few topics and say a word about our end of the year celebrations and tell you a little bit about what each of our campus levels are doing. Our elementary campuses are holding a variety of virtual events to close out the school year. Huge number of varieties, some things for our fifth grade promotion events, from kindergarten events and award ceremonies. Those are described in detail at each elementary school site, so I hope you will look those up. They're going on possibly today, certainly tomorrow. Our middle school campuses are holding a wide variety of events also, some virtual and some parade type send-off events for our older students. Those are also on our Facebook pages. And finally, Lake Travis High School is having a variety of virtual events like banquets, end of the year banquets, activities like Line the Drive events for our seniors, t-shirts for our seniors, and then a student parade tomorrow morning focusing on our seniors. All students are invited, but our seniors are encouraged to decorate their cars. But I also want to say a word about graduation. Principal Gordon Butler and his team have completed a pre-recorded virtual ceremony that will be available Friday night, May 22nd at 7:30. The ceremony will include remarks from Mr. Butler, our valedictorian, our salutatorian, and the presidents of the student body and the senior class. School Board President Kim Flash and I will confer diplomas in a pre-recorded message. And as a reminder to our senior parents, diplomas will be mailed to our graduates at a later date. A slideshow highlighting each graduate will then follow those remarks. And finally, the ceremony will conclude with a senior class video tribute. A link to the event will be emailed Friday afternoon to each senior's school email address and the senior parents' email addresses. It will be accessible by clicking on the virtual graduation graphic on Lake Travis High School and Lake Travis ISD homepages. While you may play the video on demand at any time, we encourage our seniors and their families to enjoy the event simultaneously at 7:30 Friday, May 22nd. The event requires no special software or password for viewing. While I've not previewed the video, I know that putting something together of this magnitude was a labor-intensive process. I want to thank Gordon Butler and his team for this amazing effort, especially during these uncertain and very quickly changing times. I hope that our seniors and their families and our entire LT community will take some time to watch this video and celebrate the achievements of our soon-to-be high school graduates in the class of 2020. Please keep in mind, we're planning an in-person event as well. Presently, that ceremony is scheduled for 4 p.m. Saturday, August 1st at the HEB Center at Cedar Park. Mr. Butler and his team will share details with our seniors and parents later this summer. Another topic I want to address is last week we had several days set aside where our students or parents came to our elementary and middle schools and high school and picked up certain events that had been left behind as we left for spring break, and to drop off things like textbooks, library books, band instruments, orchestra instruments, uniforms, and so forth. I want to say a thank you to our principals and our staff for organizing this huge process. I managed to visit nearly every building on these days and was gratified to see an amazing amount of organization and very positive attitudes, both on the part of our staff and the part of the students and parents who visited our building. So it was an enormous effort. It took a great deal of planning and organization, from ordering 11,000 some odd bags to dispense items to students, and to organize drop-off point locations. And to make this quick, I didn't observe any long lines. A small number of people in the building at a time. So we're very grateful to our staff and our families for getting that taken care of in a very smooth and orderly process. I want to remind you also that our new student enrollment process has begun. If you'll go to our website, there's a link for enrollment. I want to remind you this is not the process for returning student verification. That will occur later in July. Our enrollment process is for students new to the district or kindergartners starting kindergarten next year, or anyone starting at any grade level. There's a new student enrollment process on our website. Please check that out if you need information about that. Now, a couple of Facebook live events ago, someone asked me about purchasing school supplies. And I told you then to hold off on doing that. And I've learned that was a mistake on my part. I had forgotten that our elementary and middle school campuses, many of them through their PTO and PTA groups, are selling pre-packaged school supplies as fundraisers. Those events are ongoing, and I encourage you to support them. My apologies for this miscommunication on our part. That's what happens when I go off script and I answer questions that I really don't know the answers to. So my apologies to our groups for doing those fundraisers. Please support those. No matter how we return next year, there will be school supplies necessary. So those are ongoing through June. At some point, check out each school campus's website for details on how to order those supplies. About summer programs, as you may already know, our governor announced his phase 2 plan to reopen Texas. That was announced earlier this week. Specifically, he mentioned youth clubs, child care, daycare, youth camps, and summer camps that may begin operations using the state's outlined safety protocols as early as June 1st. However, as you may recall, back on May 7th, we made a decision regarding our summer school, summer child care, and summer recreational programs, and we're going to stick with that plan. Our academic summer school classes will be offered online beginning June 1st. Principals are in the process of contacting parents of those students who are eligible for our summer school, our academic summer school program. If you have questions about that, please reach out to your teacher or your child's principal. But we have suspended our 2020 Summer Squires childcare and summer camp programs through June 30th. We recognize and we understand completely this impacts many of our instructors and coaches who earn additional income during the summer. We also acknowledge this hardship this places on many of our parents to find childcare services. This was not made in haste. We've thought about this a great deal, and in consultation with districts around us and our senior staff, we are sticking with that plan to suspend those events through June. With the continued uncertainty of this pandemic and taking into consideration the potential risks to the health and safety of students and staff, we think this is the best decision at this time. In the meantime, we're going to continue to assess whether or not we can safely and feasibly offer some level of recreational programming and childcare programming in July. So stay tuned for more information on that. Regarding our Chromebooks and hotspots, we had loaned out 1,600 some odd Chromebooks and several hundred Wi-Fi hotspots back in March. And I'm very glad to report that our technology team will leave those district-owned Chromebooks and hotspots in place with families over the summer. We want our families to be able to maintain access to online learning and instructional materials throughout the summer. If you checked out a district-owned Chromebook and or mobile Wi-Fi hotspot to support your child's online learning, they are not required to return that device until August, prior to the start of school. In early August, we will have some instructions on our website for returning those devices. However, to our seniors, that is not a graduation gift. Our students who are not returning to school next year, those do need to come back to us. If you want to retain that over the summer, you'll need to return those devices between June 1st and 4th, where they were picked up, which is the Lake Travis ISD Technology Distribution Center, and we will have information about that on our website as well. So let me say a few things about next year. Assuming that we come back on site and in our schools next fall, and we all certainly hope that is the case, we do have some details and updates for you about student safety protocols, which we've been working on well before the pandemic and our school closure. For example, elementary campuses will move from school dismissal manager to attendance software by SmartTag. This is the same software currently used for our bus riders. Also, this coming fall, if we're back on site, we will implement a district-wide badge system, security badge system for our students, also by SmartTag for all students and campuses. Secondary students will be required to wear a badge for safety purposes. and elementary badges will be used as a class set for libraries and cafeterias, as well as extended care, after school care, child care. All bus riders will have one integrated badge for all district uses. And finally, many of you may not know, but due to the commotion caused by the pandemic and the school closure, in March, our school board approved an important update to our district's drug testing program. Specifically, we will be adding nicotine to the drug testing panel. Much more information on that to come in the fall for those students affected by that. But keep in mind, if we are not able to return on site this fall, these new and updated programs may be placed on hold. Regardless of how we come to school next year, I do have some information for you as well. I want to know what we're trying to do for next fall. Based on what we know today, we essentially have three options for how we might come back to school. First of all, the first option is school opens on August 19th as normal. Everybody's present, all staff, all students, everybody's in the building as we've done for hundreds of years. I think we all know that is probably not very likely. Another option is school opens on August 19th and 100% of our students and staff are learning online like we're doing today. We hope that's not likely, but I think it's important that we realize and accept the possibility that that may be dictated to us by county, state, or federal government. We just don't know yet, but I want to prepare you for that possibility. Hopefully, if schools open on August 19th, we will have some combination of some students and staff being physically present in our buildings and some students and staff working and learning online from home. As of today, we don't know what that's going to look like. I know you want to know today what we're doing so you can plan for that, but we simply can't tell you that today. That depends on how our rollout of reopening Texas occurs. Do we have a spike in confirmed cases or hopefully not a spike in deaths? But we will let you know those options as soon as possible and what we're going to eventually do. But as of today, regarding our calendar, someone asked me this question at the very beginning. We're not making any plans today to alter our 2020-21 academic calendar or the start date. Obviously, that could change with directives from the state or county or federal officials. But as of today, we're still planning on starting August 19th and following the academic schedule as is stated and listed on our website today. We don't know what our daily operations are going to look like. I can tell you today, we are thinking very much about this. We are talking about this. We are planning for these options. I'm in communication weekly with our senior staff, our principals, and our directors. I've talked weekly also with superintendents across the state in very dedicated Zoom conversations with other superintendents. And I remember somebody said in our Thought Exchange event a couple of weeks ago, asked us not to wait until the last minute to make preparations. And I want to assure you we are not doing that. We've been planning for some time. I just can't give you any specific direction on what we're doing, but I can tell you we have one of those three options that are going to be available to us. More than likely, we'll have some blended component of some students and staff online, some in the building, or we'll all be 100% online. We just don't know that. Another parent suggested on Thought Exchange that I attempt to manage your expectations as parents in the community. That's what I'm doing right now. So I hope that's working. We don't know exactly what we're going to do, but we don't know how we're going to provide transportation. We don't know exactly what safety regulations will be in place. We don't know if we will be required to take temperature or if students and staff will be required to wear masks. None of that is certain today. How we'll serve meals, what kind of sports and athletic events, fine arts events will be available, practices and activities and competitions, we simply just don't know yet. Whatever the scenario we have in the fall, we will be prepared and we will do our best to communicate that to you just as quickly as we can. I know you want details now, but that is simply not possible. We will do our best to keep you updated as soon as possible. At some point this summer, we may come back to you as parents and ask for your feedback on various options. So be prepared for a survey. I hope you will participate in that. We will certainly want to ask for your feedback as we begin more definitive planning. And I want to say one more thing before I take some questions. about our superintendent search. That is ongoing. The board will hold interviews in early June. They will meet with a number of candidates for in-person interviews is the plan today. And they hope to make a decision and have an announcement out of it for a lone finalist on or about Monday, June 15th. And once that name is made public, then I certainly plan to include that person in the discussions we're having about the fall. Even though that person has not officially started yet, we will certainly involve him or her in that conversation. And we will do our best to make sure that transition goes as smoothly as possible. I will be working the month of June and July. This person theoretically will take over in the 1st of August or earlier, by all means, if they want to do that. I have no pride in this. I'm happy to turn over the reins as soon as someone is available, but we will certainly start communicating as quickly as we can with that person to bring them up to speed on the plans we're making for the fall. Now, let's take a few questions. We were up to about, I think, 600 on the line, and I want to start before I take some questions from today. 2 weeks ago on my last Facebook Live event, I was in the process of answering a question when the power in my neighborhood went out, in several neighborhoods in our area. I hope it wasn't my fault. I was trying to do a Zoom and a Facebook Live event and sharing my screen, and I hope I didn't cause the systems to go down. But the question I was answering at the time was a good one from someone named Jenny. And she asked, do you have any recommendations on how to get gifts to our teachers as an end of the year thank you? And I want to say first how much I appreciate the question. It's very thoughtful, and I appreciate you thinking of our staff. And my recommendation would be to look for one of the very many opportunities to do electronic kinds of thank yous. There are electronic gift cards. You can certainly write notes. You can do videos. There's a number of ways to do that. I would encourage you not to try to see teachers in person. Some of our staff members have family members who may have compromised systems, and as much as you may want to see and hug and take pictures with our staff in person, I would encourage you to figure out an electronic way to do that. But thank you, Jenny, for asking about that. I appreciate the question. When might we hear about fall sports? You will hear about that just as soon as we have anything to say. We don't have an answer today, Christina, and it's just impossible for me to give you a day on that. We simply don't know that. But as soon as we know that, we'll try to tell you about sports, fine arts, how we're going to structure our school day. All of that is coming. I just can't simply give you a specific date to expect that. Somebody asked me recently, what's your drop dead date? When will you know something? We just don't know. And I'm sorry that I can't be more specific, but any more than I know if I'm going to be able to go to Montana on my trip on July 25th through the end of August. I don't know that. And I don't know if I'll be allowed to travel. I don't know if the governor of Montana is going to lift his quarantine any more than our families know if they're going to be able to get on an airplane August 1st. So the minute we know those details, we will tell you. When will new superintendent be announced? That'll be, hopefully, our plan is Monday, June 15th. A lone finalist will be announced, and that person would sign a contract on July 6th. Does the governor's proclamation override local government? You'd have to check with a constitutional lawyer expert, but my understanding is yes, the governor's proclamation and orders do take the place of local orders. I don't know if that's 100% true, but again, I'm not a constitutional lawyer, state or federal constitution, so you'd have to check with an attorney for that. What does this mean for cafeteria staff? I'm not sure what that means, but if you're asking, will our cafeteria staff have a job? This is from Veronica. They do. We simply don't know how we're going to be able to serve meals in the fall. Will our students be able to eat meals in cafeterias? Will we have to serve meals in our classrooms? We don't know, but currently all of our staff is employed. All of our staff is getting paid, but we cannot say exactly what specific jobs or job categories will look like in the fall, other than we'll be employed. Ashley asked, how will it be decided who teaches online and who teaches at the school? That will be a combination of our campus principals and our teachers. Some teachers may need to work from home. They have some personal or family-related health issue that requires them to work from home, but that'll be discussed with our staff members and our principals. And it also depends on how many we need in the building and how many at home. At some point, we're going to have to know how many children can we expect to show up on the first day of school? And so that'll determine how many need to be in the building and how many are working from home. But that's one of the dozens and dozens and dozens of details that we have to work out. What are your thoughts about the TEA recommendation released last week, specifically regarding year-round school? That's from Lindsay. That's a good question, Lindsay. Currently, the Texas Education Agency, Commissioner Morath, have provided a draft calendar or recommended calendar that starts school the first week or so of August. And I'm going from memory, so don't quote me on this. First week or so of August has a couple of weeks off at Thanksgiving, 4 weeks, I think, over a winter break, 3 weeks over a spring break, and extends school into about the 4th week of June. And there are some variations of that. The problem with that is it's going to be difficult for any school district in Texas to implement that for next year, mainly because we have already signed an employment contract with all of our staff. And that contract has a start date and a 10-month contract limit on that. If we start a few days early, we might be able to get around that, but starting several weeks early and certainly ending an entire month later would constitute a major change in the contract we have already signed with our staff, which is going from a 10-month to 11 or 12-month contract. And we're not sure if we are legally able to do that. But we are looking into that. No decision's been made, but there's some legal issues we would have to resolve. And certainly some of our families would have some pretty strong feelings about, we don't want to start early, we don't want to go into June. We also understand if we have a calendar next year and a daily schedule organization where some students are at home online and some students are in the building, if we have the need to close a campus or the entire school system after Thanksgiving, we would be able to do that and shift everyone to an online learning model if we had to for some medical or safety reason. And so I don't know that for this next year, we would need to have intersessions built into a calendar if we can do that by shifting to online learning. And let me say another word about that. We do know that I want to compliment our learning and teaching staff, our teachers, a huge number of teachers that helped with this, our central office instructional coaches and our principals, with a very quick turnaround they did to provide online learning to our students in about 3 days in March. And I think they've done a fantastic job laying that out. We've heard comments from parents that some say it's too much, some say it's not enough, some say it's just right, but that notwithstanding, our staff in a very, very short period of time did a 180-degree turn for our profession like we've never done before. We do know that if we provide online learning next fall, it will look different. We've heard from our parents that we want more direct instruction from our staff, whether that's live or video of our staff. We want more teacher content, and it would certainly need to match up. A third grade classroom online would certainly need to match up with a third grade classroom in the building. So we're working on that already, that we know we'll have to provide an online alternative for some number of our students. But we're not currently looking at changing our calendar to start the first week of August and going to the end of June. Not at this time. What would it look like? Allie wants to know if some students and teachers are in person and online. I think it would look like that. Some people would be in the building and some would be doing online learning like we're doing now. The trick is to get a commitment from our parents of how many are going to be present on the first day of school. How many are going to ride the bus? How many are going to be at home? Because we need to staff differently for that. So we're going to be asking our parents at some point over the summer to make a determination for us. We just don't know what that date's going to be, but keep looking for that. How will it be decided who learns in school and who learns online? I think that would be a parent choice, at least for now. We would leave that up to parents, but we would need to know. We can't plan for 400 kids in elementary school and 800 show up. We need to know how many are coming on the first day of school. So we'll be asking you to let us know that at some point this summer. How will course selections or changes for next year be handled at the high school level? Vicki, I don't know the answer to that. That's a question I would ask your child's counselor or your assistant principal if you have a specific question about that, but I don't know that specifically. I just can't give you that kind of detail. Part of the criteria for the LT Scholar program is to volunteer for 100 hours prior to graduating. Incoming seniors are having a difficult time volunteering this summer. Can this be looked into? That's from Ed. Ed, that is something I would ask. It's very specific to a single campus, so I would ask that of your counselor or your assistant principal. I'm certain that is something we're going to have to adjust. There's so many things that we have that our middle schools have a day of service. Can we do that? Are we going to have a returning convocation event for our staff where 1,500 staff are in our Performing Arts Center? Probably not. Will we have a back to teacher night prior to school starts or open house right after school starts? Maybe not. On the first day of school, where traditionally parents have walked their elementary children to classrooms, we may not be able to allow that. And so we do know that there's a number of things we're going to have to change. Volunteering hours for LT scholars or National Honor Society may be one of those things. So if you've got a specific question, I would ask you to reach out to your counselor or your assistant principal. CCS, please repeat, what is the plan for youth sports programs that were canceled for the spring and when will they start up? We have suspended our summer recreational camps through June 30th, and they may be offered in some capacity in July, but that decision has not been made at this time. And once again, this whole information will be repeated. This is being recorded. We'll post this on our website. And we also have specific information on our website about our summer programs, and feel free to look that up as well. Let's see, more questions. Do we get to do a drive-by to say goodbye to you and thank you at the high school? That's from Vicki. I assume the pronoun you is referring to me. No, Vicki, that is for our students. That's happening tomorrow morning. I'm in a Zoom meeting at that time. If you're asking about someone else, I apologize for being selfish and thinking about myself. But no, the drive-by at the high school is for our students tomorrow morning, and especially our seniors. And I would not even think to encroach on that celebration for our students and our staff. But thank you, Vicki. If you're asking about me, I appreciate the sentiment. Will we have the choice to do online learning versus classroom learning next year? That's from Kelly. Kelly, I assume you will. This is something we've never done before. We're all kind of trying to figure this out. But yes, we're going to ask our parents at some point to give us some indication of what their preference are. If when you're going to be in the building, do you want to start the first day of school? Do you want to be at home the first day of school? Are you interested in coming in January after we've had the fall semester to settle in? We're going to be asking you several things, so stay tuned for that. Let's see. When will transfer requests be decided or notified? That is always done in July. That's for Jennifer. So keep an eye on that. That hasn't changed, and those are going to be taken care of this summer, and those will be notified in July. Are there hotspots still available? Veronica, not at this time, but I would ask you to reach out directly to your principal, and they can help you determine if that's something we can help you with on the side on a specific person basis. Let's see. Can we have a list of teachers and administrators who are retiring this year so we can thank them? That's from Kristen. Kristen, I think we possibly have a video link on our website that addresses that. And I'll ask, Marco's helping me. He's watching me at this time. And Marco, if you can wait, there's Marco's tag there. I think we've got a place on our website that has a video link. We will provide information through School Matters, our electronic newsletter that's coming up, and we'll give you information about who's retiring. So be looking for that. Let's see, more questions. Any word on how ACT and ACT testing will look? I don't know that today. I would encourage you to contact your counselor or your assistant principal at the high school. They can help you with that more specifically. Pollyanna asks, if homeschooling is necessary or offered, will 8th grade courses that are given high school credit still going to be the case, or will high school credit be taken away? Pollyanna, we have not had any discussions, and nor has anyone even raised the issue of altering that. I don't know that we would alter that, but that hasn't come up yet. That's an interesting question. I can't imagine that would be the case, but I would think not. But that's a very good question, and I hate to go off script and start making stuff up, especially as the guy that's walking out the door in a couple of months, but that's not been presented as an option, and I can't imagine that it would be. If you have a question about that, I would encourage you to contact the counselor or assistant principal of middle school. and they can help you with that, but I don't think that would be the case. If we sign up for extended care for next year and we don't end up being in person at school, will there be options for refunds? I don't know. Jenny asked that question. I don't know the answer to that. I assume yes. I can't imagine where we would keep your money. We've done a large number of refunds this spring for field trips and things that we had to cancel at the last minute. So I can't imagine we would want to keep your money. So if you have a specific campus that you're dealing with, please reach out to them or reach out our community services department. They can help you with that. Okay, y'all, it's about 4:35. Looks like we're getting to the end of our questions. I want to say a couple of things. As a reminder, if you missed any portion of this event, this video will be posted in its entirety right here on our Facebook page, and also on our district's YouTube channel, which is LTISD Schools. Stay tuned over the next few weeks. We have more details than I can recount to you that we're trying to work out. We're talking about this every day at my level with our senior staff, our principals, and our directors. At some point, somewhere in our district, someone's talking about the fall every single day. And I want you to know we're working very hard on that. I'm keeping our board appraised and certainly our board president. But as we know details, we will make them available to you just as soon as we can. For now, I want to thank you for joining me today for this Facebook Live event. I hope you have a safe and wonderful summer. Thank you for being here today. Thank you.